Among all member states of the European Union, Greece has faced the deepest economic crisis, which has been spread like a cancer to all kinds of social structures. To this episode, we are going to see all kinds of different aspects of the social crisis that Greece is facing today. Within the past years of strict austerity, everyday ordinary citizens are struggling with unemployment and poverty, thereby building the phenomenon of the social crisis as an outcome of the economic.
Δεν μπορούσα να βρω δουλειά και λόγω ηλικίας και λόγω ότι υπάρχει κρίση και έμεινα στο Ρώμα αναγκαστικά. Ευτυχώς που μένω σε έναν ξενώνα του Δήμου.
Φαγητό?
Φαγητό από τα συσίτια του Δήμου.
Επί 1,5 χρόνο τώρα.
Μάλιστα.
Mrs. Ioana Pertsinidou, a specialist from the non-governmental organization Praxis, enlightened us on the issue.
Praxis is a non-governmental organization. It was actually founded with this name in 2004. Definitely there was a work done before, since 1996, with undocumented migrants. Now it aims to those who are socially excluded and not only undocumented migrants. That means that practically involves homeless and uninsured Greek citizens and asylum seekers and refugees and post-prisoners and all those who may suffer in any case social or financial exclusion.
So the economic crisis brought much more people in front of your door.
The economic crisis actually eliminated the middle class and brought those who have used to live autonomously into a situation they could never imagine themselves. And yeah, definitely brought a lot of people not only in our doors, but the doors and the need of services that they were not experiencing, that they may need ever in their life before. And that is a unique, let's say, situation that this crisis has brought to us.
How many people are in Praxis today?
Generally, the organization has a lot of activities. The organization has the polyclinics, has extended medical services, has legal advice, mobile units, apartments that are hosting asylum seekers, and also a day center for unaccompanied minors, shelters for unaccompanied minors, day centers in Thessaloniki, Athens, and Piraeus, and activities in 4 cities, so thousands.
Όλα ξεκίνησαν τον προηγούμενο Αύγουστο, όταν μας έδιωξαν από τη δουλειά και μας κράτησαν και τους μισθούς. Δεν είναι μόνο που μας έδιωξαν, δεν έχουμε πληρωθεί και 2 μισθούς.
Ποιο ήταν το επάγγελμά σας?
Εγώ δούλευα στα κρουαζιερόπλια. Αυτή ήταν η δουλειά μου, πολλά χρόνια. Ευχαριστημένος ήμουν. Δεν ζούσα την πραγματικότητα έξω και εδώ που ήρθα ξαφνικά βρέθηκα εκτός τόπου και χρόνου κυριολεκτικά. Όταν με τον καιρό διαπίστωσα και εγώ τι σημαίνει εδώ έξω, η αλήθεια είναι ότι φρίκαρα λίγο. Τώρα προσπαθώ μέσα από κάποια ιδρύματα, κυβερνητικές οργανώσεις και εδώ κτλ. Από το κράτος δεν υπάρχει βοήθεια από το κράτος, καμία.
Ούτε σύνταξη έχετε και λόγω ηλικίας, αλλά ούτε και κάποιο επίδομα δεν παίρνετε.
Όχι, δεν δίνεται τίποτα γενικότερα στους αστέγους ούτε στους άνεργους. Δεν υπάρχει δηλαδή ούτε πρόβλεψη για μόνιμη στέγαση, ούτε πρόβλεψη για μόνιμο φαγητό, ούτε πρόβλεψη για σταθερή υγεία. Και άρρωστος να είσαι, εάν πάθεις κάτι, υπάρχει ακόμα και σε αυτό το τομέα γραφειοκρατία. Εγώ το μόνο που θέλω είναι μια δουλειά, μια εργασία. Αν έρθει η εργασία, όλα τα υπόλοιπα θα τα κάνω μόνος μου. Δεν έχω ανάγκη από τίποτα. Αλλά και αυτό αυτή τη στιγμή δεν υπάρχει. Δεν γίνεται. Έχω που ψάχνω για δουλειά τουλάχιστον 5 μήνες. Όλοι μου λένε ή ότι είσαι μεγάλος στην ηλικία, ή ότι δεν έχεις τα κατάλληλα προσόντα, ή ότι δεν έχω.
Do you have families in Praxis?
We have families also from various nationalities. Only the day center we have registered more than 1,000 families. There is very, let's say, also weak strategy. There is a lack of European strategy when it comes to combat homelessness. And when it comes to Greece, is that there are only spasmodic movements to combat anything that has to do with those that are suffering not only poverty, but also homelessness, very specifically.
Πόσο χρόνο είστε, κύριε Χρήστο?
Είμαι 63 στα 64.
Και τι ήταν το επάγγελμά σας πιο πριν?
Είπαμε, Είμαι σε δημοτικά τραγούδια, μουσικός. Οργάνων παίκτης.
Δεν έχετε κάποια σύνταξη?
Όχι.
Κάποιο επίδομα από το κράτος?
Τίποτα που δεν έχω. Είμαι αυτή τη στιγμή ικανός να μου δώσει σαν κράτο να μου δίνει και τη σκούπα να σκούπιζα στον δρόμο να μην τα δώσουν τζάμπα. Αντέχουνε τα χεράκια μου. Αλλά βλέπεις, μας πετάει στον δρόμο.
The unemployment is the most crucial factor that fed the social crisis. Mr. Angelos Tsakanikas, a scientific partner at the Institution on Economic and Industrial Surveys and also a professor at National Technical University of Athens, inform us on the matter.
Well, the unemployment rate is one of the major problems of the Greek economy right now. During the last, 5 years, it is the major social consequence of the crisis. It used to be at early 2009, the unemployment rate was at the level of 9-10%, and last year was 27%. It reached, this is a European record. We have the first rank in this rate. Last year, 2014, we noticed a very marginal reduction in the unemployment rate by just 1 percentage point, and now it's just 26%, which is still very, very high. As you can understand, this is not important, actually. We have 1,300,000 people unemployed, and also 3 out of 4 of them are long-term unemployed. So the long-term unemployment is also a big issue for the situation in Greece, because you may look, for a job for over 1 year, and you become, even your skills. You lose your skills, you lose your morale when you are such unemployed for such a long time. And unfortunately, this is the major consequences of the crisis.
Which target group are the most vulnerable on the unemployment?
Mostly young people, up to 30 years old. But you can see that even in the age group of 44 to 55, which is, let's say, one of the most productive targets, let's say, for the employed people, the people that they have, experience in their work. Even there, you can see that there was a high unemployment, or it's less than the young unemployment, but still you can see that a lot of people that they were, well educated and had a job, a productive job, they lost their job, and this is also important for a society when you lose this most active part of the population. You lose this kind of people.
Έκανα χρόνο.
1 χρόνο άνεργος. Τι ηλικία έχετε?
23.
Σπουδάζετε?
Έχω τελειώσει το λύκειο, τα βασικά.
Τα βασικά, βασική
αλλά
εκπαίδευση.
είναι δύσκολα τα πράγματα για όλους μας, για όλους.
Παίρνετε κάποιο επίδομα σαν άνεργος?
Όχι. Ναι, όχι.
Και 1 χρόνο απλά επιζητάτε δουλειά?
Το προσπάθουμε πάρα πολύ.
Μέσω
πάρα
τι?
πολύ. Όχι, έτσι ψάχνουμε δουλειά.
Αγγελίες.
Αγγελίες, χρυσή ευκαιρία. Εντάξει, άλλο για τον κόσμο είναι δύσκολα. Και για τα αφεντικά και για αυτούς που ψάχνουν. Εντάξει, σιγά σιγά πιστεύουμε θα αλλάξουν τα πράγματα. Πιστεύουμε.
If other things were equal, maybe you could direct your policies to the unemployment and try to do, what's best for them. But we had such major problems in the economic field. We had a recession. Accumulatively, it's 25. We lost 25% of the GDP. So when you have such a huge recession, really there's no many things you can do about the unemployed. And what we witnessed was that there was a very, very quick increase in this unemployment rate. Very quickly, businesses had to fire people and jobs were lost. And what is more even disappointing, or it is a question, is how the creation of new jobs the pace of the creation of the new jobs, because we believe that it will take long to recreate these jobs that they were lost. The previous government and generally the policies that were implemented were only on trying to find a solution on the short term, just with vouchers or things like that, to give some sort of help only for 5 months or 6 months for something like that, which is important, of course, as a short-term policy, but the long-term issue is the thing that should be more important. And at this level, the only thing that can create jobs, the only policy that can create jobs right now in Greece is through the private sector. So you need to attract investments, productive investments, because some people, just mention investments and they mean just buying some shareholders in the Athens Stock Exchange or things like that. We need some productive investments in the country, some fresh money to flood in from local or foreign investors, so that you can have a creation of jobs. Because otherwise I do not really see how you could implement more targeted policies.
Αν εργάζομαι, δεν εργάζομαι.
Δεν εργάζεστε. Είσαστε απολυμμένοι ή...
Είχα δική μου δουλειά και την έχασα με ρούχα, μαγαζί.
Με ρούχα. Και χάσατε το μαγαζί σας.
Εννοείται.
Λόγω της κρίσης.
Λόγω της κρίσης. Ανασφάλιστη είμαι.
How can we have a factor to draw a policy both in a national and European level?
Well, investments is the word again. I mean, unfortunately, especially in Greece, but I believe in all European countries, the public sector will not be able to offer jobs anymore. So what you should do at the public policy level is create an environment where firms do investments and they hire people. So that's why the policy for unemployment is closely related with entrepreneurial policies. What you do, how you make business environment more friendly for investments. But there's another issue that it is important, is the type of jobs that you create. Because here in Greece you have a more high-skilled personnel. You have more educated people. It's not like, say, like Bulgaria or Romania, that the level of the human capital is a little bit less privileged, let's say. So, we usually say that the tourism, for instance, it is a sector that you can create a lot of jobs, but actually you can create low-skilled jobs and not that of a big quality. And in this country you have, you have chemical engineers, you have biologists, where all these people will find work. So it is an issue of what type of jobs you create. And these countries should try to focus not to become a low-cost economy, but rather move on the high-level skilled, let's say, employment.
What kind of investments, or where, in which kind of sector can we invest in Greece?
Well, there are a lot of sectors, and there are the usual suspects. You could hear about the tourism and the constructions and the food industry and even the pharmaceutical generics and things like that. The issue with the sectors, there are a lot of sectors, but the problem is that you need the type of companies that you have over there. You need more innovative entrepreneurship. You need knowledge-based entrepreneurship. You do not need, cafeterias or restaurants. We have too many of that. So you need to create companies to be more of knowledge-based and to have innovation.
Όχι, είμαι άνεργη.
Άνεργη πόσο καιρό?
2 χρόνια.
2 χρόνια άνεργη. Παίρνετε κάποιο επίδομα?
Όχι, πλέον.
Before the crisis, the whole entrepreneurial system was a little bit introvert. They didn't care a lot for external markets. The domestic demand was very high, so you set a price, people buy your product in the internal market, and you didn't really have to look for external market. Now we see that there is such a change in the in the strategy of the companies, but also there's another problem of the Greek companies, like you say in the mastika. You have very small companies in Chios, for instance. These, you need to create economies of scale, and you need to force them in a way to make an alliance and to increase their size, even in terms of production. And so these can help their strategy also, and can find customers abroad.
Unemployment and poverty led a large part of the population to depression. Mrs. Marilena Komi, the director of Reich Institute for Psychotherapy, presents us the situation alongside with Institute's efforts on supporting psychologically unemployed people.
The Reich Center of Athens was founded in 1980 by our teacher. She was an Italian, Clorinda Lubrano, who took part of one of the first Reichian groups in Europe, in Italy. And so she came here and founded this center. So since then, we have practically we take two part of actions. One is the training of psychologists or social workers, etc., to become body psychotherapists, Reichian psychotherapists. And the other activity we have is about the prevention of psychological distress.
Recently, because of the economic crisis, I have seen too many surveys stating that because of the unemployment, too many people in Greece are depressed and facing panic attacks and all other kind of mental and emotional diseases. And I know that you have a very active work on that. May you please describe us what are you doing on that group of people?
Yes, I would like to say some things about the relationship between the economic crisis and psychological phenomena. There are various serious researches that have been published also here in Greece that show some important results. There is an increase in suicides in the first semester of 2012, about 36% in respect of 2008. So this is the most outstanding, let's say, most tragic phenomena. We have also about an increase of 36% in antidepressive medicine, and also in another interesting research who was made in a very big hospital, general hospital, we have an increase of 120% in people with depression who goes to this hospital.
Which hospital?
Evangelismos. This shows also that people who maybe before went for a depression in a private section, now they cannot afford it. And also this general problem with medicine, that now many people cannot afford their medicine in general.
The social crisis has highly been reflected to countries' political framework, where anger led to irrational voting behavior, and we saw into the national parliament of world's oldest democracy, even a nationalistic party. Mr. Pavlos Tsimas, a Greek journalist and political analyst, discusses with us this new political frame. May you please comment on the results of the elections of January 2015?
There were no surprise to nobody. Everybody knew that there would be a change of guard. Everybody in Greece knew that, and everybody in Europe knew that, and they expected that. So it's only natural after 5 years of depression in the Greek economy and of social turmoil. The old guard, the old parties were totally discredited, both for being guilty of what happened in 2010 and for mishandling the crisis from 2010 onwards. So it was only natural that the Greek people would vote for an alternative.
Mostly because they were holding hopes.
First of all, because they wanted to punish the old parties. I'm not sure people were really hoping for something. They just hoped that they could punish as harshly as they wanted to without running the risk of a major catastrophe. People were not voting because they hoped that a new government would bring happiness, but because they thought that, okay, this time we can vote against those who we feel are guilty for what happened in our country without running the risk of a total collapse.
How do you comment on the fact that we have in our national parliament a neo-Nazi political party?
I think this is the major political issue in Greece the last 5 years. This neo-Nazi party, organization, or whatever you call it, has been created back in the early 1980s. And it has appeared in election time and again. And it had never got more than 20,000 votes all over the country. That means the electoral percentage up until September 2009, October 2009, was 0.22%. They were nothing, they were non-existing. And suddenly they blew up to what they are now. So I think this is the major evidence of the depth of the social and political crisis the country is undergoing.
We can generally say that Golden Dawn is the third political party, but if you see closely the statistics, the percentage is so small.
I wouldn't say it's small. It's 400,000 people. 400,000 people have voted for them. Are they Nazis? Of course not. And not even the total of these parties' MPs are really Nazis. But there is a small nucleus around the leader who are really and deeply into Nazi ideas. The whole environment is not. They might be called nationalists. They might be called racists, xenophobic, and people that are quite mad about the political establishment. They want to kill politicians, I would say. They want to punish as harshly as they can the political establishment. So this is the kind of people that votes for them. But the nucleus of the party, the inner circle around the leader, you should have no doubt they are really Nazis.
There are stories saying that people from Golden Dawn, they were going to areas in the city center, areas that government had turned a blind eye for years now. They are not developed. And they were knocking doors, providing protection and asking for a vote. Is that true?
Look, what has happened from the 2003, 2004, there was a number of immigrants arriving in Greece from African and Asian countries and the Middle East. And the numbers were increasing. And the Greek state had really didn't have this policy on its agenda. What happened was these guys were coming in, people were coming in either by boat to a Greek island or by land in northern Greece. They were crossing through Turkey. They arrived, they got arrested. The police had nowhere to keep them. There were no provision for them. So they took a piece of paper that allowed them to move around for a couple of months until the case was settled.
The widely known pink paper.
And then they arrived at some areas in the center of Athens. And people who were living there felt that their town was degraded, that their life was getting more difficult, and that nobody cared about that. So that was the vacuum that Golden Dawn, in a way, covered. They were there. They were selling protection to stores. They were terrorizing immigrants. They were terrorizing locals who didn't want to cooperate with them. They got hold of the city. And so in 2010, In the municipal elections in Athens, they got 5%. And that was the first appearance. That was the first time that we realized that we had a real problem in our hands.
You said before because they vote on Syriza because they wanted to punish previous governments because of guiltiness. Mm-hmm. Can we say the same for the Golden Dawn?
Who votes for Golden Dawn? They are young, male, jobless. That's the core electoral group that votes for Golden Dawn. It's a young, jobless male living in a city. That's the kind of people, the type of guy who would vote for them. Syriza is another thing. Syriza, for example, is the party that has been voted by people working in the private sector, people working in the public sector, in the last elections by people who are retired and afraid that their pensions will be
also people that previously vote on New Democracy or PASOK.
Especially PASOK. I mean, Syriza has inherited the electoral base of the Socialist Party, almost in its totality. It's the heir to PASOK, the old Socialist Party, who has become almost non-existent.
Do you believe that people actually now they do trust Syriza and they do believe that it is about to make a change?
Well, I would say they have no alternative. People feel they have no alternative. If Syriza mishandles the government, then of course, at some point in the future, an alternative will be created because that's how democracy works. But as we speak, I think the feeling is, the people feel that they have no alternative. So even if they don't trust Syriza as a governing party, even if they feel that the guys in the government were not prepared to do the job, are not doing the job the way they should, that they are not as serious as they should be, still they feel they have no alternative. If Syriza fails, first of all, that would take some time for the people to realize that they have failed. And if they do, I would say that Syriza would have failed towards the hope and the will of the Greek people to stay in the Eurozone, to stay with the European Union. So the alternative would be a European alternative, so a political formation that would promise to guarantee Greece's position in the Eurozone and in the European Union.
Reporting from Athens for Brussels and ActuaTV Chara Gkioka.